No DQ Galaxy. We are live with a recap of AEW Dynamite, the 4-year anniversary edition, October 4th, 2023. Crazy to think it's already been 4 years since the first edition of Dynamite. I'll tell you, 4 years seems like a very long time ago with everything that's happened in the world since then. But nonetheless, we are here to discuss Dynamite, a milestone show. And as Darren G said, make sure you guys give this video a like. If you're watching, whether live or on demand, please show your support. Give the video a thumbs up and just spread the word. All right, let's get to this. We had Renee Paquette backstage with Chris Jericho and Kenny Omega. It was brought up how they were enemies when Dynamite started, but on this show, they were going to team up for the first time on AEW Dynamite. They were interrupted by a fellow Canadian, Adam Copeland, formerly Edge, his first official appearance on Dynamite. Adam said that he was planning to be there for the 8th anniversary, the 12th anniversary. Looks like he's going to be sticking around in AEW for a while, unless he ends up going the route of CM Punk. Hopefully that's not the case. He wished Jericho and Omega luck. He shook hands with his old friend and rival, Chris Jericho. And then Kenny Omega had a little joke. He said that he saw Adam's debut and Adam had him at the edge of his seat. Get it? Edge. Haha. Anyways, Kenny Omega and Adam Copeland shook hands. And that led to our first match of the evening, which was Rey Fenix defending the International Championship against one of his longtime rivals, Nick Jackson of the Young Bucks. Matt Jackson and Penta were at ringside for this. It was what you would expect from these guys, a very competitive match, back and forth. Fenix was selling his back, still having issues. Remember, he was taken out of the match at Wrestle Dream. And they fought around the ringside area for a while. Nick Jackson ended up going for a kick, but missed and hit the ring post, so he was hurt too. And after the break, they traded kicks. They took each other down with kicks. Crowd was chanting AEW. They were very much into this. Nick ended up giving Fenix a cutter on the floor, got him back in the ring, and then hit an avalanche cutter. Fenix kicked out, though. Crowd was chanting Holy S. Nick hit a destroyer. Fenix once again kicked out. BTE trigger, yet another kick out. Nick Jackson could not put him away. Nick ended up going for a pin, but Fenix reversed the momentum and managed to hold on to his AEW International Championship. No surprise here. I figured Fenix would retain. And they did confirm that next week it will be the rematch. Jon Moxley will have an opportunity to win his championship back against Rey Fenix. And I think the odds are fairly good of that happening. We had Adam Cole, a segment where he was visiting Roderick Strong's house, and Cole was about to have surgery. Now, unfortunately, there were some serious audio issues for people watching on TBS. Like, you could barely hear anything in this segment. Tony Khan actually apologized on Twitter/X, Twix, as Jeff Meacham refers to it as. They re-aired the segment, and they also added an overrun to the show. So this Dynamite went later than usual, and that's why I started a little bit later than usual. But anyways, they did also, in addition to replaying the segment, they also put it up on social media. It was a pretty funny segment. You had Strong in his wheelchair yelling out for Adam, and he got a present for Adam, a scooter. So Adam and Roderick Strong could roll around in the living room, and that's what they did. But then Cole said he had to go because he had to get his surgery. Strong needed help. This was an emergency, and the emergency was he needed Adam to rearrange his furniture, and the Kingdom could not do it because Adam knows about interior design and all that stuff. So Cole did it despite needing the surgery, and then when Cole was finally about to leave, Strong said he still needed help. And that was the end of the segment. So maybe we'll be seeing this over the next several weeks as Adam Cole recovers from his injury. We had Griff Garrison, and man, this sucks for him. Brian Pillman Jr., his former partner, already starting to get pushed in NXT. And Griff Garrison, basically a body for the return of Wardlow. Wardlow's back after being gone since the first Collision on, I think it was June 17th. Wardlow just destroyed the guy. 5 power bombs. Referee ended up stopping the match, and Wardlow left through the crowd. I'm happy he's back, but are they really going to push him now? Or is it going to be, we're going to push him for a week, then he's not on TV, then we push him, then he's not on TV? How many times is this going to keep repeating itself? And can you really rebuild him to the point where fans will be invested in him? That's the big question. Matthew has a good point here. He's kind of like the Lacey Evans of AEW, although I would say probably more talented. We had a Don Callis promo, and he said that he has no shortage of young male athletes that want to be part of the Don Callis family. And he said that Kyle Fletcher will be teaming up with Konosuke Takeshita against Omega and Jericho. Fletcher is on his own now because his partner Mark Davis was injured at the Wrestle Dream pay-per-view. We had the Acclaimed in a 6-man match, Max Caster, Anthony Bowens, and Billy Gunn against Butcher, Blade, and Kip Sabian. So basically a showcase match for the champs, although it was not a total squash. The bad guys did get in some offense, but in the end, we got Scissor Me Timbers and Bowens pinned Sabian. And then we had the final edition of Tony Storm, Portrait of a Star with RJ City, and she was throwing shoes at him, and then she came up with this new nickname. She is now Timeless Tony Storm, and she had a match, which we'll get to in just a few moments. We had video packages of Bryan Danielson beating Zack Sabre Jr. at Wrestle Dream, as well as Swerve Strickland beating Hangman Adam Page. They will have a match, Bryan and Swerve, on next Tuesday's Dynamite. And by the way, this is crazy. So next week, AEW Dynamite is on Tuesday. We're doing the No DQ review next Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern, just so you know. But Dynamite's on Tuesday against NXT. And NXT is going to have John Cena on their show. Cody Rhodes is going to be on the show. Paul Heyman is going to be on the show. WWE is stacking next Tuesday's NXT up against AEW Dynamite. And for the first time in quite a while, I will be recapping both shows. I am going to do what I attempted to do at the beginning of the Wednesday Night War and recap both shows at the same time, watch them both at the same time somehow with 2 screens and get it done. I'm going to recap both shows next Tuesday night, so make sure you guys tune in for that. And then Wednesday night at 8 p.m. Eastern, we will have a special edition of the No DQ review. Now, back to Dynamite. We had Bullet Club Gold minus Jay White come out for a promo. They made fun of MJF, the world champion, for being short. They called him the people's douchebag. They said he jumped Jay White in the devil's mask last week because he's scared. They called him out, and they said he could wear his Halloween devil costume. MJF did show up, not in the costume, and he called Juice Robinson talentless taint and had the crowd chant "Ass Boys, talentless Tate" at the Guns and Juice Robinson. MJF brought up all of his accomplishments over the past 4 years, or actually just a few of them, because if he was going to list them all, it would last the entire show. He brought up Cody Rhodes. Cody Rhodes got a name mention. And he did say, however, he did not attack Tofu, a.k.a. Jay White. And he wanted to fight. MJF got into the ring. Bullet Club Gold retreated, but Jay White then snuck into the ring, attacked MJF, left him laying with the Blade Runner, held up the championship, and then stole the title. Jay White left the ring with the title, cut a promo on the stage, said that they know the real MJF. He's a pathetic, dirty liar, and AEW needs a truly elite champion. And at that point, Jay White challenged MJF for the championship at Full Gear, which is a month and a half away. So they're announcing this early, and I'm not complaining. I like the fact that they're announcing this now, and you could start building up to it. You got plenty of time for it, though. But yeah, this is a world title match, and they're going to have plenty of build for it. MJF did accept, of course, and we have it set. Full Gear. MJF will defend against Jay White. Very good segment here. I enjoyed it. MJF did great, and yeah, I'm looking forward to the build-up for this. Very, very good stuff here from these guys. We had a little backstage promo with Orange Cassidy and Hook, and Hook was wondering why Orange Cassidy wasn't getting the match against Rey Fenix next week, especially considering Mox only had the title for like a week or two, and Cassidy had it for almost a year. We had a tag team match. Jericho and Omega versus Takeshita and Fletcher, with Don Callis on commentary. Jericho and Omega were working well together, but bad guys were able to get the upper hand for a while, and it was back and forth for a bit. You had Omega and Fletcher trading shots, and then Omega got the upper hand. Takeshita came in, and that allowed Fletcher to take the advantage, but then Jericho tagged back in, hit the code breaker on Fletcher, and then Omega got the win with the one-winged angel. No surprise here that Jericho and Omega would pick up the victory here, and Fletcher, of course, taking the fall. Very obvious, but good match. And then afterwards, we had a surprise. Powerhouse Hobbs attacked Kenny Omega and just beat the crap out of him. He threw him over the barricade, started using the guardrail as a weapon, and then got Omega back into the ring. And Don Callis had some duct tape, and Callis was trying to tie up Omega in the rope, and actually Omega got free at one point. Wasn't part of the plan. They botched it, so they had to keep taping him up, and the segment did drag. It did go on too long, but I do like Hobbs getting this push, although it's almost like Wardlow. They push him, they stop pushing him, they push him, they stop pushing him, and I don't have a lot of confidence that they'll invest in him long term. But they did the angle here, and I will give them credit. AEW on commentary, they did mention that Adam Page was not there, and The Young Bucks had to go to the hospital. Nick Jackson was hurt, so Kenny Omega had nobody to help him. They at least explained it, which I can appreciate, because too often I'm wondering, when somebody's getting beat down, do they not have any friends? And of course, Paige is not on good terms with the Dark Order, so they weren't there. It actually made sense. I give AEW credit where credit is due for that one. Backstage, MJF was talking to Renee Paquette, and then Max Caster showed up. So they got this little online story, I guess, where Max Caster keeps hitting on MJF, and Caster came up from behind and started giving him a back massage, and MJF basically freaked out and yelled at Caster. Caster left, and MJF wanted to call his buddy Adam Cole, but the call went to voicemail. Plot thickens here. And we had a Samoa Joe vignette. He said he needs to regain his hunger. And yes, MJF did earn his respect, but when he's hungry, he manages to eat. They're basically teasing that Samoa Joe was not done with MJF, which is interesting because they got the Jay White match for Full Gear. I wonder when they'll get Joe into the mix. We had Sky Blue versus Timeless Toni Storm. And Toni had this black and white intro. Her music, if you remember Mr. Wonderful Paul Orndorff in WCW at the very end of his run when he had that wonderful song, kind of reminded me of that. I do like the gimmick, though, and Toni's really getting into it and embracing it. So yeah, I think this does have some potential. And it was a pretty competitive match here, and Toni was even providing a little bit of a segue into the picture-in-picture break. She looked at the camera and said, "We have some very important messages from our sponsors." So I like how they did that. And Sky got a few near falls on Toni, but in the end, Toni hit the hip attack. Storm Zero pile driver, got the win. Yeah, I'm definitely intrigued to see where this goes. And then we had our final segment of the evening, which was the big in-ring promo from Adam Copeland, formerly Edge. I wonder how long it's going to take, and they better not have JR say anything when Adam Copeland's out there, because he'll be the one to accidentally say Edge. Although somebody else might, and I'm just waiting. We're all waiting for somebody to slip and call him Edge by mistake. Anyways, Tony Schiavone brought out Adam Copeland. We can say Edge because it's not national television, and we will not get in trouble for that. But yeah, if AEW said it enough, I mean, they had Kenny Omega with the little Edge line, which was funny, but obviously they can't call him Edge. So Adam Copeland comes out there, the full-blown entrance, WWE music, the rated R superstar. He's got the new shirt. Basically the same guy, just Adam Copeland instead of Edge. So Tony Schiavone introduced him, and, Adam's used to doing his promo without a guy standing there. So he did show some respect to Schiavone, but then told Schiavone to hit the bricks. And then he cut his promo. The crowd was chanting Adam, which he found amusing. First time he's ever gotten an Adam chant before. And he brought up why he came to AEW. He said the AEW world title would look good on him. And he brought up several potential opponents, including Jon Moxley, Kenny Omega, Miro, Powerhouse Hobbs, Jay White, Juice Robinson. And he said that he is now able to challenge himself with something new after being in the wrestling business for over 30 years. And he said that it came down to his kids. He asked them what he should do. Should he retire? and they said he should go have fun with Uncle Jay, aka Christian Cage. At this point, Copeland brought out Christian to the ring, and Copeland said he still loves Christian, but he could not let Christian attack Sting and give him a concerto. Copeland also said that Luchasaurus and Nick Wayne are just using him. They will drop him at the first opportunity they get. And Copeland said it's time. It's time for them to reunite and be a tag team again. Face teams like FTR and the Young Bucks. And Christian looked at him and the two of them hugged. They had their hug, but then Christian got on the mic and said, "Go F yourself." It was muted on television. He said the F word, full blown. You could check it out on the No DQ Twitter, uncensored. No DQ DOTCOM for those of you that don't know. He left the ring and then he brought out Luchasaurus and Nick Wayne. Edge was very upset about this. Well, I said Edge. Adam Copeland was very upset as Dynamite went off the air. Great segment here. I mean, these guys are seasoned veterans, and they're building up the tension here. We all know we're going to get the inevitable Adam Copeland versus Christian Cage singles match, and they will team. I mean, I think that's inevitable, but you want to do the singles feud first. I definitely think this is the right call to have them fight each other, and then eventually Christian will see the light and realize he was wrong, and we'll get Edge and Christian, or Adam Copeland and Christian, as a tag team one more time. See, I see them doing this route first, and then eventually they'll reunite, and they'll make people wait for it. But I think we will get it eventually. And I like that Adam brought up all the potential opponents. Definitely a little tease for the future. Great stuff here. Excellent ending to the show, and overall, really good Dynamite. D. Martin 5th sent in a $9.99 super chat. Thank you for that, D. Martin 5th. I very much appreciate it. Says, for nostalgic purposes, should Tony Chimmel make a cameo on Dynamite and say, "Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the 11-time world champion, Hall of Famer, the Rated R superstar"? Yes, they should definitely get Tony Chimmel out there, like for Full Gear. Why not? Just for fun. You know how CM Punk had Howard Finkel do his ring introduction that one time at Survivor Series? They should do that for Full Gear. One time, just for fun, have Tony Chimmel on the pay-per-view do Edge's introduction. 100% they should do that. I agree with that totally. Overall, I would say it was a great Dynamite overall. I would give it an A-. We obviously had the audio problems, and a couple of the matches were predictable in nature, but good wrestling, and the MJF angle with Jay White, really good. I'm definitely looking forward to what they do with that. And then the final segment was an A+ segment, in my opinion. Definitely worth checking out. Strong start to Edge's run. Looking forward to the Edge, Adam Copeland versus Christian match, probably at Full Gear if I had to make a prediction. And oh yeah, I forgot to mention this. Matthew brought this up. I forgot to mention that segment when they taped Kenny Omega's arms to the top rope, Don Callis ended up giving Omega an unprotected chair shot to the head. So yeah, it is what it is. I mean, these guys, they're old school. They believe if you're going to be in the ring, you gotta be tough, and you gotta take the chair shots to the head. So WWE doesn't do that anymore, and yeah, it's a touchy subject. I mean, I don't think they should do the unprotected shots. I mean, it wasn't a super hard chair shot, but I still don't think they should be doing it. Like, if you're going to do the chair shot to the head at all, let them put their hands up. Like, I remember WrestleMania 27, and they got in trouble when Undertaker gave Triple H a chair shot to the head. Triple H put his hands up. Like, he was very safe with the spot, and they still got in trouble for it. So I would say, for you going to do the head chair shot, let them put their hands up. Doing this with Omega not able to put his hands up, like, yeah, I mean, it's not really setting a good example. So yeah, I did need to bring that up because I know some people were critical of that, and for good reason, definitely. I definitely think they should have done something else for the heat. Like, does Callis really need to do that for extra heat? No, he doesn't. But overall, great Dynamite, A-. Definitely intrigued about where they're going with these storylines. Toni Storm, what's next for her? They set up next week well. They set up Full Gear. So productive show, in my opinion. Very productive show. That's all I got for tonight. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, again, please give it a thumbs up and spread the word. Tell a friend about the NoDQ.com YouTube channel. And remember, say yes to NoDQ.com, and I will see you all next time.